Stress and spiritual disconnection. Why spiritual disconnection and disconnection from what I believe is your heart, your soul, and your inner navigation system can basically cause you a lot more anxiety and stress. When we look at stress, we know that stress is motivated by fear. It is motivated by things like anxiety. And it's often, triggered by, in many ways, when we look at stress and we look at it in the most basic element, when we look at, for example, negative stress, it is a response in our body, and that can be mentally, emotionally, physically, to something we perceive as a threat. In some way, we have a fear over something, it triggers something within us. Okay. And even if we look at, for example, when the physical body is attacked by something that is not good for it, right? Even though we may not be aware of that on an unconscious level, or a conscious level, the body is basically, it's almost reacting to something that is in some ways, the body perceives it as some sort of physical attack. So if you think about toxin, viruses, physical harm, physical trauma, these are all things that the body perceives as some sort of, has to react to defend itself. Now, one of the things that when we look at stress is most of our stressors, okay, and the things that we tend to react to or find stressful, maybe on a daily or weekly basis, in many ways, often they're not that important. It's just a perception, and it can be related to our conditioning, our beliefs, expectations, internal expectations, external expectations, and pressures. But one of the things that I know in my own life, and I see this a lot in the work that I do, I've seen it demonstrated in a lot of the spiritual teachers and coaches and healers that I've invested in or worked with, is that the more someone has a very strong spiritual connection, right, and a deep, deep connection to their own inner navigation system, it is a form of stress resilience, right? Because it helps. It's almost like the easiest way that I can describe a good spiritual connection. I think that's maybe clarifying what I mean by that. So sometimes when people talk about spiritual connection, they think just automatically, religion. I was brought up as a Catholic. I believe that a strong spiritual connection is that I've evolved in my own understanding and my own spiritual journey, going down so many different teachings and understanding of spirituality, is that it's almost like our channel, our connection to the spiritual world. And what I mean by that is your divinity, that God spark, feeling that connection and having a clear connection and channel that is open, right? Which helps you feel guided. It helps you feel more intuitive. It helps you feel more empowered and strong, because it's this clear connection and strength that you are more than the physical body, right? You're more than just being human, right? So the human aspect is just temporary. Now, one of the biggest challenges that many people face right now in the world right now is spiritual discernment. in many ways actually finding their way through the chaos, finding being able to navigate what's maybe truth, fact, fiction, because things are so confusing. And in many ways, when we think about a spiritual war, we are in a spiritual war at the moment, because the world in certain, you could call them entities or certain organizations or certain people, have a certain, they try and assert control over many of us, right, in different ways. And that can be politically, it can be through certain, political ideas, cultural, religious, governmental. If we look at the way that the world is built, right? And certain ideologies are really pushed more to control the people, particularly the masses, and different members of society. And if you look at power structures are designed like that, where there's a very much us and them, where people want to really assert their power over other people and to basically thrive at the expense of others, right? So elevate themselves while they keep other people suppressed or even dependent, right? But if we go beyond that, the individual that can feel spiritually empowered, spiritually connected, spiritually strong, is not easily seduced and hypnotized or programmed by this conditioning, right? And can also see creative solutions and ways to get out of that matrix. And if we look at the journey that many of us that are, for example, healers, light workers, coaches, and this kind of, when we go on this journey, we realize that part of the work that we need to do is as much inward than getting the certificates, getting the training. When you are truly dedicated to be a healer, a therapist, or a coach of this type of work, a counsellor, a psychotherapist, any of these types of vocations, it's vital that you do the inner work and that you spiritually grow so that you can be the most aware and evolved healer, therapist, or coach that you can be, to make sure that you help your clients, and maybe even if you're going further, teaching your students as much as possible. Now, one of the biggest things that most of humanity has faced over the last few years is what we call maybe a lot of attack to the lower chakras in relation to a lot of fear pushed and pushing people into triggering their survival. There's that fear, fight or flight response in relation to their very being, their survival, right? So there's certain kind of propaganda and put out to really push people into this root level fear. And if we look at facing your, it's almost like, for many people, it was the first time that they came to, or they had real strong fears coming to the surface about, their mortality. Now, some of us who come into the healing or coaching industry, come in because we've had lots of these experiences already. We've had lots of maybe life-threatening, extreme challenges with our health or well-being. So there's certain things we'll work through. We're all different. We all have different experiences that we bring to the table. And obviously, it can be easier to trigger people that have not faced their the fears that they have about the mortality, or who hang on and hold on to the mortality with grim death. And particularly if you don't have a strong spiritual connection and a sense of trust, right? And we all go through phases in our life where we can lack trust in our connection and in life for lots of reasons, right? I'm a strong believer that a good spiritual connection, and what I mean by that is a connection to you. So this connection to your soul, your heart, your soul, to an essence of you, a connection where you have a strong connection within yourself to the divine, to God. And that can mean different things to different people. To me, it's the highest elements of love. And, to me, and when I talk about this connection to the highest truth, to the highest divine, to the light, to anything that is of the greatest good, right? And the creator in its element, in its love element. Because the word God for many different people can mean different things, and it can be a very loose term, and unfortunately it's been hijacked by different elements, but that's what I mean in relation to what I'm going to talk about at the moment. Now, when we can consider that we are all children of God, children of the light, we are children of this God essence, right? And that we all have this potential and this aspects within us that is the light, right? That has this, to me, a soul essence of beautiful gifts and a beautiful purpose. And the easiest way for me to demonstrate that, I show you examples, is a newborn baby. And a newborn baby comes into the world with this purity, right? And this God spark. But unfortunately, life, conditioning, other people's fears, other people's projections, beliefs, distortions, trauma, anxiety, fear, all these things kind of start tainting that baby's energy field and that baby's perception of the world. And some children keep that magical God spark, a lot longer than others. Some people can keep that as adults quite strong, right? And there is some people, for so many different reasons, can find the world very traumatic, can find it very fearful, can get very disconnected from their essence, disconnected from that spiritual connection, that clear channel. And if we think about, for example, if you are surrounded by people that do not believe in you having in a navigation system, and they think that's I was trying to say the word there, but I think I was going to get the word wrong. But anything that was just a whole poo-hoo, right? And if you have someone that has quite strong intuition, and you have good, what we call a refined antenna. I'm someone that's very highly empathic and highly sensitive. And sometimes my radar has been so off the charts that it's actually been very disabling for me, because I've been picking up so much in the collective that it was some of the experiences I had was unbelievable. But what I would say is that in many other ways in my life, it's been extremely powerful. It's in many ways saved my life. It's helped me make decisions that are what you would call the road less travelled, against the grain, but actually serve me. And I was also very lucky. My father always encouraged us to listen to our gut, listen to our intuition, right? And think that helped, because being also extremely empathic and sensitive, where I know a lot of my viewers are, is that the more empathic and the more sensitive you are, even though you can be very highly intuitive and can pick up a lot of things in the radar, and it's almost like your antenna is more refined, right? And you pick up your channels a lot clearer in certain ways, and we're all different in how that works. But sometimes what can happen is you're also yet that fine antenna is also more sensitive to other people's stuff, other people's energy, trying to control you, trying to force their beliefs, trying to force their distortions on you, on what they think's right for you. People that have very strong, are overpowering, or a lot of people's own trauma, negativity, fear. When you're picking that up, unless you've learned to have healthy boundaries, unless you are healing your own trauma, you're healing your own energy field, and that can also be to do with physical trauma, physical energy, physical disease, other things that may be interfering with your energy field. It can be overwhelming, and sometimes you can have good intuition and good, a good antenna, but the antenna is getting clogged up by all this information, and it's like information overload. Now, the more that you have a clearer connection, right, and clearer connection, and some people that are would class themselves as mediums and psychics. I work with a lot of different types of teachers and healers to help them, with their business, and sometimes the students come to me for different things, training and things like that. And one of the things that I do notice, there is some psychics and mediums still give their power over to what they perceive as picking up, things in the energy field, right? But they're not their whole trust within them, within here, and this divine connection, that having an earth access that connection, and being fully even maybe grounded as well into the earth is not clear. I know for me, grounding has been a huge issue most of my life. And it's interesting, as a child and as a teenager, I always would give out with my bare feet. And I remember my mum would say, "Stop getting about your bare feet." I think it was naturally me intuitively want to feel connected. It was like my nervous system was so sensitive, was so finely tuned, that it required more of that, right? Now, I do believe that, particularly over the last few years, it's became so apparent, when people are very disconnected from their own soul and their own what you call your divine connection, your God connection, right? They're not really listening to their inner voice, right? I've had some of the weirdest things said to me, where it's very clear that people are given the power constantly over other people. I've done that most of my life. I gave all my power to other people, even when my intuition was telling me no, and other people who thought that they knew better, but they didn't, right? They had maybe more brutal or forceful energy, right? Bigger energy fields in some ways, right? And with my own wounding, feeling maybe helpless, powerless, question myself. And that happened a lot even with many healers and spiritual teachers, where, you're coming from maybe a point of your own vulnerability, your own weakness, and when you go to, for example, when you go looking for help from someone else, right? Often we know in spiritual work, that it's important to do the work ourselves as much, but often we do need help. We can need guidance and just support and extra support. And when we're going for that extra support in some aspects, there's a certain level of vulnerability can be there, where we have a weakness or an area where we have a challenge that maybe we're just not overcoming. So sometimes the dynamics don't feel even, right? And sometimes people can manipulate that, or they genuinely believe certain things, but that might not be the whole truth because it's to do with their level of consciousness, their level of awareness, but also how they perceive the world and how they perceive things. If I had to go by everything that I've been was told about my health, myself, I would probably be insane if I believed everything that I was told. And I started to realize that it was just people's perspectives. And you know, and the most powerful thing that everyone on an individual level should be doing is connecting with themselves, building that clear connection, building a good soul connection, building the soul power up, building their connection to the universe, to God, so that they can ask for help and they can ask for guidance, and they're not relying on other people. They're not relying on someone else that actually, may have it all wrong and maybe think they have, but that they may not. So the most powerful thing I think is really, really important for us all at an individual level is to cultivate a stronger soul connection, because a lot of people at the moment are starting to feel as if they've been duped about a lot of things. And we're all duped in some level to different things. And we have been conditioned in this world and in this modern culture to give our power over to distractions, to give our power over to things that are not important, to material things, to get over obsessed by our work and place all our attention and our energy in our work as if that's the be all and end all, and lose sight of other things. And we have an over attachment to the physical to such a degree that we actually can forget about our spirituality or a deeper aspect. And it's often not until people reach really deep crisis points in their life, or certain things happen, that they go inwards and they start seeking. They become the spiritual seeker. And even if you have a strong God connection, if you have a certain religious beliefs or spiritual beliefs, and you have a certain strong connection, if you don't have good intuition, if you don't have good inner guidance, and there's a disconnect, there's something that's not clear. And it's one of the reasons why I think it's a fundamental thing, and it's one of the most basic things that people should learn. And I'm saying basic, on some levels, it's like your foundation. But one of the things that I know, one of the things when I went, to learn, I've studied spirituality, holistic well-being, and all sorts of other things to do with what you would call spirituality, self-development, personal development, all sorts of holistic therapies and spiritual healing modalities. And one of the things that I was always fascinated by was purpose and intuition, and why some people were very disconnected and some other people were not. Why also some people who thought they were really connected, where evidence maybe would perceive that maybe that wasn't. And there can be a lot of fundamental different things going on there. One of the things that when I started getting on a lot more journey was I was seeing a lot of healers were just teaching things that were only scratching the surface and basics. But because of my own level of health challenges and so many complex things that happened and just unfortunate things that happened to me, it took me down a road where, and in some ways, if I was really going to get to the root of some of my challenges and improve, I had to take really drastic measures and go to the best. It was like going to the teachers of the teachers of the teachers. That's what it was like, it wasn't just going to, it was trying to go to some of the best in the world. And I explored so many, and it was like I would go to someone and learn something and realize there was something else missing, or there was something. And then that took me to another person. It took me to another person, and it helped me learn more and more. And some of it, there were some things that were common denominators within all of these. There were some other things that were not, and there were some things that I started to realize that a lot of the things that I had been taught from very on, even as a healer, and some of the things in spiritual work that was not actually 100% truth, and sometimes it wasn't truth at all. And it also helped me see and experience some of the most powerful experiences and ways to fast track certain challenges that had took me 30 years to try and overcome. And it's one of the reasons why I created the meditation and soul connection program, which is it was based on a 4-week class, but there's also a bonus in it. But it's a step-by-step process to help people deepen their connection, deepen their meditation, deepen their connection with their heart and soul, so that they can start cultivating a stronger connection with their heart, their soul, and the light, with that connection, that God connection, and recognize that we're all channels and we can all access the light. We can utilize that connection. So what I have done is I've used a combination of things, and some aspects that I use myself I've found just more effective sometimes when I've been teaching students. I've been a meditation teacher for, oh my goodness, well, I've been in business for over 23 years, and that would be over 20 years. There's some things that I've, been practicing myself for over 30 years, and I've done some before, even I done my own business. I've done certain things on a voluntary basis. So there's a lot of background to this. But it was one of the reasons why in this program I thought that it was a really important thing, especially now, not just the meditation, but something that would really evolve people. And I share some strategies and some things that has been a combination, in many ways, a kind of signature course of a combination of strategies put in a certain way that in many ways cost me to learn many, many years and a lot of money. But I've tried to put it into a very affordable package for anyone who wants to learn how to deepen their soul connection. And that is over at the stresscoachtraining.co site, and it is meditation and soul connection. So it's like deep meditation and deep soul connection. And it is a great way to, it's like a step-by-step process, and explain the process of how to start cultivating a deeper connection within yourself. Because the more that you build that connection within yourself, that helps you really feel it inwardly. And there's lots of things that spiritually I just know or have had experiences, and it's like you get a feeling right away when something happens or something's said that maybe something's not truth or something. And I believe that this practice has helped me greatly and helps give me more clarity in my day-to-day routine. And it's one of the reasons why I shared this. But it's also why part of all this is another reason why I created a new program. And it's a new coaching and healing program that also has the meditation and soul connection program in it. It's a bonus at the beginning. And that is step into your soul's mission. One of the things that we're seeing with many healers, particularly in coaches and therapists, is that they know at a soul level that their work is ready to step up to a brand new level for so many reasons. Because what we're seeing in the collective is a shift in understanding, and a necessary shift of people really becoming statement to their power, statement and appointment, and it being really more soul aligned. So it's almost like you may be doing roughly what you're here to do, and you're almost like, you're in the type of work that you like, but maybe there's something within your work that you should be doing more of, or there's something else it's just almost like there can be this missing gap, or you need to step up, or you need to evolve. You know you need to do more work. You know that the tools or the strategies or the understanding is not enough. There is something, you know, there is more. Step into your soul's mission. And the reason why I've done it, why I've made it a 10-week course. I've run all sorts of coaching and healing programs. And one of the things is that I know is many people rush the getting to know themselves part, the what is their purpose, right? What is their gifts? What is their most powerful traits? I work with archetypes and I've run some archetype courses, but one of the things that's became very apparent the more that I've done the work was, I think I took for granted how much work that I have done in myself and really delved deeply in how much explanation and how much that I knew and understood. And, you know, because it was years of evolving. But even healers sitting with healers 10, 20, 30 years, many of them were kind of, it was almost when we started doing the course, they realized how disconnected they were from themselves and they didn't really know themselves. And then what happened, it was a bit of overwhelm because they realized that a lot of the work they was doing was not aligned with them core level, and they could start to see things in a deeper way, maybe why certain aspects of their business was not as aligned or didn't come as much flow. So Step Into Your Soul's Mission is a program that is designed to really help you deepen your connection, help you unlock more of your life and soul gifts, your soul essence, tap into that, tap into your dominant archetypes, look at your archetypes, your energetic blueprint, your essence from a perspective that you're starting to see you as this individual and unique energetic blueprint, right? To tap in and help you unlock more of your zone of genius. Because I do believe that every coach, healer, and therapist is only scratching the surface in relation to what they're doing. And a lot of them don't realize that they maybe have within what they do, it's not just about the tools. They're so focused on their tools and techniques, they miss the essence of what they're really good at, right? In that work, and what makes them unique, what makes them stand out, and also how to build a business around their strengths, not their weaknesses. Many people are building business models that don't suit them, that are not aligned with their needs, or their gifts or their skills, and it's putting a lot of stress on them. And we see this one size cookie size fit approach for so many things today, and it's just about making money, right? For other people. It's not designed for the consumer. So this course is a way that I help you in a step-by-step approach. It's my signature approach. It's only for personal use. It's not, you can't repeat it to use, obviously, your own clients. This is for your individual use. It's for those of you who take your spiritual journey and your spiritual career very serious and are ready to live more of your life and soul mission, your purpose, step up, maybe in your business, in your life, and need that bit of support, but want some access, some tools that are going to help you look in and see things from a much deeper and wider perspective, and in some ways help you get more focused, help you more narrow down, and help you own more of your power, help you own more of your gifts. So I'd love to see you in either of the courses, the Step Into Your Soul Mission, which starts in August 2023. The Meditation and Soul Connection is a self-study program, so that can be taken anytime, and I will share more about the two of these programs in the link below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment if you like if you've liked this video. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely day.